have you tried installing VS Code, and also have you tried some concepts which we have discussed yesterday? Do anyone have any doubts regarding those things, or anyone facing any blockers? Let me know so that we can resolve first. Then we'll be going into next things. Okay. So, do anyone face any troubles or any blockers? Raise your hand, or else just unmute yourself and you can talk. So, this is the thing you're facing, or something like that. Okay. Do anyone have the type of issues? If not, we shall go into actual topic today. If everyone is good to go with, if everyone doesn't have, if anyone doesn't have anything, I can directly go into concepts. What do you say, guys? Do anyone have any concerns? It's sort of a silence. I could take it as you all tried, and you all, you don't have everyone is very particular about, very clear about those things, and I expect you are not having any issues. Am I correct? Or you are yet to try? Say something. You can either chat, type your message in chat. Have you tried or not? I want everyone to answer. Have you tried installing VS Code? Or I believe someone already have those tools installed in your system. Okay, anyhow, freshers who are there, just try, give a try. Don't just listen to class and don't be idle. Try. When you try only, you can understand what are the blockers, what are the issues you'll be seeing in real time. Okay. Now let me go into actual concept today. What I have planned to cover. I shall give you some quick recap, and we shall go into the actual topic. Okay. I believe everyone could able to see my screen. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday we have covered a few concepts regarding what is a language and what is the prominence of language in computers and software, and how many types of languages we have there in computers, and what we are going to cover in this particular batch. I already gave you those glance about things which we'll be covering in this batch. Okay. So next thing I want you to understand about actually I just given a glance about setup. So what is IDE, and what is a code editor? So why we need to choose a code editor normal when it compared to Notepad, and what is I just gave this document. So I'll be providing after this class this document. Just go through the document and try to find out the things. If you have any questions, or if you have anything to ask, you can personally ping me, or else you can ping in the group. Okay. Now the next thing I want you guys to understand the components and fundamentals first. Okay, before driving deep into understanding what is front end and what all the things are required for front end, I want you guys to understand the basics of development first. Okay, first when you understand the basics of development, then you might be comfortable with both front end and back end, and you can extend your knowledge also. Okay, in the first thing, the components which are involved in development, you need to understand. So yeah, I have been saying something that to bring a physical business over the internet or onto online, you are supposed to develop a application, and there should be three developers sitting behind that application development: front end developer, back end developer, and a database developer. Okay, database engineer. Okay, so these three guys would be doing all the stuff. But as a person, as a developers, you need to have a command grip on terminology which you will be using across the application. Okay, when it comes to application development, there are few terminology which you need to understand before developing an application, because you might be a front end developer, you might be a back end developer, you might be a database engineer who deals with data, and you might be something like a cloud developer. So all the developers who are developing an application need to have some basic knowledge about terminology. So that's the reason why I brought this concept here, to make you understand with the terms and terminology which which you'll be encountering again and again throughout this batch and also throughout your career. Okay. The first thing I want you to make you understand, how does the internet work actually. So internet, I believe everyone is a technical student. So you know how the internet, you know how the internet is actually working. You working. Maybe I can expect a quick understanding from yourself if I give a quick glance. Okay. So you type something on your mobile, or you type an URL, something like on your browser inside on your mobile or on your desktop or your tablet, anything. So you are just hitting some URL and you're getting some data. So how does the data get, how you're getting the data onto your mobile or desktop or laptop. So it's all about that you are getting some resource onto your desktop. I'll show you that. So suppose if you're trying to ask internet, you need to open one browser, and if you're trying to ask something about React. Okay. About React, when you type something about React, you are seeing something like Geeks for Geeks, React introduction, and React.dev and w3schools.react. Okay, these are the results which you are able to see. But when you click on this one, you are able to see the content which is relevant to your search. So how this content is being displayed on your browser, inside your mobile or inside your desktop or on your laptop, how this complete data is being delivered to your mobile. So suppose I am accessing this from mobile, and someone is accessing this from desktop, and someone is accessing this from laptop, and someone is accessing this from tablet. All the guys, all the person, if they open this page, they could able to see this content, same content on their irrespective of devices, they are seeing this content. So how this is happening. So this is all happened because of internet. Internet is nothing but a internet is nothing but it's a shared resource platform. It's a shared resource platform. So what actually it means I'll just give you a glance about how it works. Okay. Then we shall not dive deep into this one, but I'll make you understand. Okay. Suppose think this as a resource. Okay. This as a resource. So suppose this is something like about React. This document is prepared by myself. Okay. Now what I will be doing means I prepare this document, and I will be do what is next step is to my next step is to transfer this document over to internet. How do I transfer? How do I need to how do I transfer? The process is very big process. I will let you know. But my aim is to I prepare a document. I prepare a document, and I will be keeping this over internet, and some guys, first guy, second guy, third guy, if anyone want to see this document, they can direct they are not allowed to come to me. They can directly go to internet, and he can also go to internet, and he can also go to internet, and he can search, he can get the document from internet. Okay. I am the person who prepared the document, but what I did, I hosted this document on the internet, and many persons are able to access the document. So how they are accessing? So my source is some I am placing my document on internet, and they are accessing the internet. So in the internet there is something called shared resource. Through that shared resource, you are able to get the you're able to host the document, and you are able to get the document. The core concept between sharing the resources is happening through internet. Okay. Through internet only the sharing of resources would be happening. Okay. Now our example is something that a physical business. Suppose think of like this is supermarket which you are able to, which you want to make which you want to make it available for all the users. For example, first user want to see this physical business on online. Second user want to see this physical business online, and third user want to see this physical business online. What actually we need to do? We need to make an application for this physical business, and we need to host it over the internet. Then what happens? then what happens? The first user, the second user, third user can able to see this physical business on internet. He can access the supermarket over the internet, and he can get whatever he want, which he is doing physically. Okay, so now the core concept why I want to make you understand about internet is something that, so to share anything to others, you need to form a network. That network is something that internet. So I want to make you understand the terminology behind making an application for this physical business, and how this physical business is being hosted on internet. The process of hosting this physical business, complete physical completely this physical business is going to place on the internet, and how this process is happening, that you need to understand. The front end developer, not only front end developer, not only back end developer, not only cloud developer, not only database developer, everyone should need to have a minimal knowledge how this is happening, So this is the key point where when it comes to application development, you need to focus. Okay, so in the terminology, the first thing we have been discussing something like internet. It's something like a global network. See, it's a global network that connects computers, devices, so they can share information with each other. Okay, they can share information with each other. So I am the person who is putting my information over the internet, and he is the person who is accessing the information, and he can also put some other document, and I can also access the document. Nothing but this document is nothing but a computer or a server. Okay, you are not going to put the document onto internet. You're going to put a server, a mission onto internet. I'll explain you that things. Don't get worried, don't get confused about the things, but understand the things. To share something from your local computer, you are preparing this in your local computer, but if you want to share this document which is present in your local computer to whole globe, whole world, then you need to transfer your then you need to make your local mission as a server. When you make this your local machine as a server, and the person whoever sits in a global, he can access your local mission, and he can access the document which you have prepared. Nothing but the core concept is something that when you prepare some document in your local, to make it available for others, you need to make your computer as a server, or something that you need to place your document, you need to place your prepared document on a server over the internet. Okay, on a server over the internet, you have two options: one, to make your local computer as a server, or you need to place your document on a server which is present in the internet. The core concept is something like server. Okay, server, you'll be keep on hearing this word server. Okay, server is something that something is a shared resource, shared network. Server is something like a shared network. Okay, you don't want to confuse more, you don't want to focus more, but it seems that you need to understand how the internet is working actually. You just something like you're browsing websites, you're getting data, you're sending email, you are sitting here and you're sending email to some of your friends, and your friends got notified about your mail. How that's all happening? You're sitting somewhere, you are opening your system, and you are sending some mail from your system, local system, and your friend is sitting somewhere on the other side of globe, and he could able to get that mail which you sent. So how this is happening? You're sharing your resource over the internet through servers. Okay, that's one thing. Next, what is the web actually? Right now we have something discussed, right? Web is something that when you try to see here, you see here the URL which you are typing here: https www.geeksforgeeks.org react.js introduction. Okay, so when you try to hit this URL, what actually you're seeing? You're seeing some content. If I try to, I am trying to hit this URL. Suppose Deepika tried to hit this URL. She would also see the same content, and some other person would hit the same URL, and he would also get the same. He would also get the same content. Actually, WW is something that it's a interlinked hypertext, interlinked between the web pages. Okay, interlinked between the web pages. So this sort of like this is something like a web page. This person, Geeks for Geeks developer, put this web page on the server. He kept his web page on the server, and this web page has some address. So when you try to hit this address, you'd be able to access that web page. And how you are doing this, how you will be doing something that how you will be doing with this means with the help of www. So this you will be learning. This you will be learning what actually this one and how this works. I'll be letting you know. But for now you understand, you are something, if you want to access a web page via internet, you need to enter some url. That url is particularly associated with www, world wide web. Okay, now actually I need to discuss few things. So few things, what are the so difference 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 between web page, web page, different website, web application. So I believe some. So anyone do know actual difference between web page, website, and web application? Now I have been saying something that this is a web page which is hosted on the server, and you could able to get this page viewed on your desktop or on your mobile or on your laptop. Okay, that's fine. This web page is created by some other person. So I'm saying this as a web page. And what actually web page means, and what actually website means, and what actually web application means. And as a front end developer, what you are going to develop? Are you going to develop web page, or are you going to develop website, or are you going to develop web application? So what sort of thing you are going to develop? So do anyone guess what you are going to develop as a front end developer?
Web applications.
Web application.
Yeah, it's sort of like web applications. So it's all depends on the requirement. You are supposed to develop a web page, you are supposed to develop a website, you are supposed to develop a web application. Okay, it's sort of like it's a combination, and it's a requirement from the client actually. So I will say you I'll say you quick example. I'll let you show one thing. Okay, Kaplan. Okay, you are seeing something like Kaplan.com. Okay, Kaplan.com. So this is a website. This is a website. So actually, you are seeing the content. You are seeing the content. You are seeing the content which is all related to the education here. Students and professionals, business institutions, and educators, universities, all these things, right? So actually, I know the architecture behind this Kaplan website. They utilized Next.js for developing this Kaplan.com, and it's sort of like it is not a web application. It is like a website. It is like a website which has web pages. It is not a web application. Okay, so it's all depends on the requirement. And when you go to, I'll say you when you go to Amazon, not Amazon, I'll let you know. Okay, Zomato or else Habibus would be also fine. So now when you see this one, this is something like a web application. So I will state you the changes. I will give you the glance about the changes. Sorry, differences. What is web page? What is website? And what is web application? Then you will be easy. You will be comfortable in understanding and identifying what sort of the thing which you are going to develop. And when you see something, so oh, okay, this is a web page, or this is a web application, or this is a website. Then you can easily figure it out. Okay, I'll give you glance about those things and few examples. Okay, so actually, just think of like a web page. A web page is nothing but a single page which you will be developing. See, I am trying to open Visual Studio Code, and okay, this has some data. Fine. So now let me okay, let us create one more folder called day 2. Day 2. Now see, I have a folder day 2. Inside this folder, I'm going to create one file called index.html. Index.html. Okay, index.html. Now I'm going to create a page, a HTML page that shows information. This is day 2. This is day 2 demo. Okay, now when you see this one, when I try to open this with a live server, I'm trying to open with a live server. So when you see this one, you are getting the content which you have written here. This is day to demo. This is day to demo. Okay, you are able to see the content which you have written. Now when you see this folder structure, you have a folder day 2, and you created one file index.html, and that is actually showing. That's actually you are trying to access directly index.html. You are directly accessing the index.html, and individually this is called this particular index.html is called as a web page. This is called as a web page. When you write something called sample.html, sample.html, then this is also something called, this is also something, this is a sample page. This is a sample. So when you call these all those things individually, then these are termed as a web page. Individually, these are when you called it as a individually, when you called it as I'm accessing something like sample.html. Now, when I try to open this one, I will say something. I'm accessing sample web page. Here I'm accessing index web page. I'm accessing sample web page. Now you might get a doubt. So then what is website actually? Then you'll get a doubt like, then what is actually website? So now we are saying something that individually when you try to call this when you try to access this index.html, what actually happening means you're trying to hit that particular URL directly, and you are able to see that page, single page. It's a single view page. You are able to see the single view page. So then, say a second please, I'm getting a small call. Sorry, so I'm back. So when I try to say that you're trying to see the index web page, when you're trying to see the sample web page. Now actually it is something like a static file. It's a static file. See, it's a static file which can consist anything. I'm just writing a text here. Maybe it can have something images, it can have anything you write, but it's a individual screen. It's a individual view. When you say this, I am accessing index page, I am accessing sample page, then individually you would be calling this as a web page. And if you are going here, and if you are hitting something, if you are trying to hit something, where is this one? Okay, when you try to hit this, when you if anyone asks you, means you would be simply saying that I'm on sample web page. So individually, when we call this, when we'll be accessing this one, then it would be called as a web page. Then how? Then when it would be called as a website or web application, then I will give you that glance. And for that thing, for understanding the website, I will be creating one more folder called, let me create one more folder called, for example, I'm trying to create a folder, stride. Okay, so maybe something like stride. Okay, stride, stride, stride it. Okay, this is a folder. Inside this folder I will be creating index.html, index.html, index.html. Then I'll be creating home.html, home.html. Then I'll be creating contact.html, contact.html. Then I'll be creating that about.html. Now see when it would be called as a website. Now when this actually will be calling as a website, I'll let you know. Okay, about.html, you have three things. Okay, index.html. Now I will be creating something called index.html page. Inside this page here, I'm going to link, I'm going to interlink, I'm going to link home, home, href, href, home.html. Similarly, I'm going to create three more things. Home, about, 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 contact. Okay. Now, when I try to open this index.html, okay, I want to change this one. About.html, contact.html. when I try to open this with live server, now you will be seeing something like when you try to open this sample.html, what actually you're seeing the content which is having, which is written inside the sample.html. What you wrote here, you wrote this is sample. Then what I'm terming this as, I'm at sample web page. So this is something like a web page. So it directly shows the content. Okay. Now here I just visited index.html. Inside this index.html, there is link to another other web pages called home, about, contact. Now, if anyone asks me where I am, so I would be saying something like I am at Stride IT website. Website. Website is nothing but a collection of web pages. Okay, collection of interlinked web pages. Okay, collection of interlinked web pages. Just understand the term. When you are calling it as individually, then you would be calling it as a web page. When you are able to call it as access these web pages interlinked themselves under one single domain name, then it is known as a web application. Sorry, website. Okay, website. Just remember the difference. When you call it as individually, then it would be a web page. When you are calling it in the case of interlinking between the pages, then it would be called as a website. Okay. A website can be anything. It can be a multiple web pages and something like you have some few rules for calling this as a website. Okay. Now, if you see something like home, about, okay, you're in about, then contact, and whenever you try to access, you will be seeing something like 127.001.55.0 stride at the index.html. So this part would remain same. And when you try to go to about, this part would remain same. And when you also go to interlink contact, this part would remain same. Okay. Now think of like you are on the page stride it index.html. Now when you go here, you are seeing something like a different one. See here, you're seeing something like a different one. Here also you're seeing something like a different one. When you compare this one with this one, you would be seeing this is different and this is different. So individually, when you try to call a page, then this is termed as a web page. But to call it as a website, it needs to have a common domain name. So what is domain name? I will let you understand. But understand the thing, what is web page and what is actually website. Okay. This is something like it can be, and website can be a static and also it can be a dynamic. For example, I'll show you few things. Okay. For open, okay, let me open one thing. Openai.com. Okay, openai.com. Okay, this is openai.com. This is something like a website. When you click on research, you would be going something like research. Okay, and when you go to home, you will be, when you click on safety, you are going to safety page. So when you are going to chat gpt, you are going to chat gpt page. And when you're going to see, observe this address bar. Every time when you hit on it, you are not going to change in the domain name, but you are going to change in the route which is appending after openai.com. Okay, then this is termed as a website actually. So openai.com is a website. It has a multiple web pages which are interlinked to each other, and these web pages can be something like a dynamic, or it can be something like a static. It seems that when you try to open Kaplan, okay, I'll just show you this Kaplan. So Kaplan. So when you try to open this Kaplan dot, okay, Kaplan.com, when you try to hit on the students and professionals, it would take you to some page. Then when you click on high school, it would take to college admissions. Okay, what's happening? High school, it's taking some time. And when you try to what is this one? If you here, we don't have any click to actions. If you have something like click to actions, go to GRE preparation, and you'll be seeing something like something, see, learn more on demand. So this is something like a website, but it has something dynamic actions. So on the whole, what I'm trying to say you is something that web application can be a static resource or it's a dynamic resource. Now you might be getting doubt what is static resource and dynamic resource. So let me give you glance about what is static and what is dynamic. Okay. Now yesterday we have been discussing something like a Wikipedia React. Okay, React. So now I just typed here and just I'm going to be I'm going to land on something called, this is en wikipedia.org wiki react software. Okay, this would be treated as a web page. And if you see something like, yesterday I have been saying something. So for every user, whoever visits this page, the content would be same for him. The content would be same for him. So this would be something like a static content, which is not changing for a request, for every request. Now if I hit here react software, I'm just hitting again. See, I'm just hitting again second time. So the content is the same thing. Have you are you observing any content change? No content change. So it's a static website. For this particular URL, this the content would be same for everyone, and for every request the content would be same. It is not changing its content. So these type of things are called static websites. These type of websites or web pages are called as a static web pages, because this doesn't change the content for every request. Every request is something that every time when you hit this URL, so you are going to hit this URL first time. So the content is something which you are seeing, and again I'm going to hit this URL or something, refresh. Again you are seeing the same content. Again I'm hitting, you are seeing the same content. Again hitting, seeing the same content. So these type of things are called static. And when you see something like Abibus, Abibus. So now what happens when you click on this bus book ticket online? Now you see, when you select Hyderabad, when you select Bangalore, then you click on search. This is my first request. This is my first request. What happened? You are seeing some content which is related to Hyderabad to Bangalore. Okay. Now I changed my mind and I am going to change with Chennai. So this is my second request. So previously I requested first URL, and I'm going to request again second thing. Second, this time what happens? You are able to see this. You are able to see the different content. So these type of websites are known as a dynamic website. Okay. So the content is dynamically changing, means those type of things are known as a dynamic. And for every request, if the content remains same, those type of things are known as a static. Okay. Now I believe you understood about what is static and dynamic. So, and websites can be a static website and also dynamic website. Okay. Now here comes to what are web application. So web application. So I would give you something that, okay, let me give you an example. um, eh, okay, let me show you. So now you are landing here. Now you are seeing something. What you are trying to see? This is Gmail. Okay, this is Gmail. Okay, actually here the Gmail, what actually the Gmail would be doing? So what is the purpose of Gmail actually? So I want you to answer. What is the purpose of Gmail? Do anyone know about what is actual Gmail is doing? Or okay, no issues. Everyone are aware of Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT. Chat GPT. Okay, Chat GPT. Let it be. I don't want to you. I don't want you to make. I don't want to make you confused. So what is Chat GPT? You are very much aware of this one, right? So what actually Chat GPT is doing? Do you know what actually Chat GPT is doing? Chat GPT is Chat GPT. When you open a Chat GPT, what type of you are seeing some interface. So what all the things you can do with Chat GPT? Come on, guys, share your knowledge. What are the things you can do with Chat GPT? Okay, it's all something like you are trying to hit something. Wait, if you try something to React, then you are going to hit right React, and then you are going to hit something. Then if you do something, this one means, then what happened? If for some time it will be taking some time, and it will be getting the data whichever required. So it gives some data. So how actually this data is getting? Okay, see here. What is this? Right click, inspect. Okay, now see here, when I typed React, now I'll be trying to type React router. Okay, React router, fetch etc. Okay, React router. Okay, you have interacted with this Chat GPT, and you triggered one conversation. So you sent something payload, and it gave something response, and that is the response which you are able to see here. Okay, which you are seeing, the response which you are seeing is something that which is from here. So this is the response, right? This response is being see, this keep on changing the response. It's going to change. It's changing the response, and this is the response which you are able to see here. Actually, what I'm trying to say is web application is something that an application. This chat GPT is a application where you can interact with it. So you are interacting with this chat GPT application, but where you are doing this one on the browser, on the browser. So on the browser, what you are trying to do, you are trying to use chat gpt on the browser. But what sort of this chat gpt is, what is actually chat gpt? Chat gpt is a software, it's a software, it's an application, where it can be used on the web browser. Okay, on the web browser, the application or a package or a software package or a software or as an application which can be used on a web browser, those type of applications are known as a web applications. So I'm saying chat gpt, gmail you are able to use on browser, and it has also an app, gmail app. And you have zomato, you have abibus, you have everything, you have something called app, and those things can also be used over the web browsers. So you are able to use this abibus on the web browser and also on your mobiles, tablets, or anything. So then these sort of things are known as a web applications. And you might ask me one question, okay? So now abibus is you are using abibus on your mobile, and you are able to use on the desktop. Okay, you're able to use this, you use on the desktop. Okay, desktop. Then what is the difference between actual web application and mobile application, and this application accessible on the browser? So here comes actual the part. Abibus is something that you could able to use it as a mobile app, and when it comes to desktop, where you are using you are using it on the browser, in the on the browser, through an url. Okay, through an url. But there are some applications which are dedicatedly can be used on desktop as a application and also in the browser. One example is something like slack. Okay, I believe everyone know about slack. See, now you are seeing something like slack.com. When you try to open this one slack.com, you would be seeing something, an application like this. So this is a slack application which can be installed on your wait, I'll show you that one. Get started. Okay, it's asking for sign in, but no worries. So I would say you something like Slack is something that it has some desktop application that can be installed on your desktop, and it also can be accessed on the browser. Remember two things: an application which can be installed on the desktop. Slack can be installed on the desktop, and Slack can be accessed from the browser. You can directly access Slack from the browser by typing the URL, and you can also access the slack by installing on your desktop. So those type of things are known as a web applications. You would have a large difference between web application, mobile application, and application which can be viewed on the desktop as a software and as a desktop application. Okay, now you would be seeing something, I can give you some good example by installing slack, but right now I don't have access to get the slack here. So that is the reason. Maybe you just assume something like you have installed something something like Google Chrome, right? You would be getting some icon here, some slack. When you open that slack, you would be able to access the slack content on your desktop through an application, and the same content can also be accessed from the browser. So from the browser, you would be seeing the same content, and through an application, through an app installed on your browser, that's also you could able to see on your laptop. So those type of things are known as a web applications. Web applications would have large interactivity. Something like the web applications would be especially designed for handling the interactions, more interactions. So as a chat in chat GPT, now see, okay, let me give you an example. So good example, chatgpt.com is there right now. I am accessing this on under where I'm accessing it in desktop browser, right? Maybe let me search for ChatGPT desktop app. See, download for Windows. This is good example. See, now I click on download. You would be seeing something like download. installer exe file. Okay, now when I try to open this one chart install, I'll be installing this chat gpt. Okay, now this chat gpt I'm installing on my laptop, and without this application also, what happened? Okay, without this application also I could able to access chat gpt here in my browser. So this type of applications are known as a web applications. This type of things are known as a web applications, and it is explicitly required for handling the large interactivity. Some examples are chat gpt, gmail, and also some examples like twitter. Those all those things are those all the things comes under web applications. It's sort of like websites, web page, web applications are everything are interlinked, are interlinked. You should only remember when you call a page in a individually, then it would be called as a web page. When you call a web application, uh, when all the web pages are interlinked with each other and it is under a particular domain, then that would be called as a website. And a web application is something that where it can be used, it is a software package that is packed up for an application purpose, and also it can be viewed in the web browser. Those things, those type of things are all are known as a web application. So these three are the difference between. Okay, these three are the difference so this is the difference between web page, website, and web application. Okay, now I have been saying something like server, all those things, right? Now I'll show you quick things which are necessary to understand. Okay, now I have been saying something about domain name. So domain name, so what is actually domain name? So I gave you information about. So all the web pages are interlinked under the same domain, under one domain. I said you, right, I said you previously about this one. When you try to open this index.html page, just click on open with live server. Now you will be seeing something like when you click on home, about, contact, every time this would be remain same. So this would be remain same, and only the thing is changing is only the thing is changing is something that about.html, and rest of the things are remain same. So this is something called a domain name, and I had showed you here also OpenAI. When you click on this one, you click on you openai.com is remains same, but this is something like going this keeps on changing. Okay, and when you click on something like chat API platform, so this remains same. API got appended to this one. So now what is my intent is something like domain name is something, a address for your application, address for your application. Now if you want to see this content, you need to define one address. Through that address only users can identify you. And also kaplan, now see you're seeing kaplan.com. So you are seeing something, you are this person, this developer hosted this content on the internet, hosted this content on the internet. But how to access that content? How do you access that content? You cannot access this content just blindly, right? And I already showed you something. You are going to develop an application, physical application. For example, name of this physical application is something like more supermarket. Okay, more supermarket. Okay, more supermarket. So this has a physical name. But on online, you are able to build an application. But how do you access that? How do you give to others to access that application? How others can access that application? How can you control the accessing of application? So it's all, you need to develop an application and you need to give a name for that application. That name is nothing but a domain name. Okay, that name is nothing but a domain name. Okay, you would be when you're trying to develop an application, for every application you will be developing a I'm talking about web application. For every web application you are going to develop, that will have a domain name. Domain name is nothing but a human readable address used to identify and access websites on the internet. Okay, so you just go through this document, you can easily understand. Okay, now you will be seeing something like this particular url is something that a address for this web page, address domain name for this web page. So this is something called as a website address. address of this page. But I would say you something like, you observe this one, www.geeks4geeks.org. Okay, org. So this would be the common, and rest of the things would be keep on changing. I showed you here also, right? Here also, openai.com is something that which is remain same, and rest this, no, this part is keep on changing. So this would be based on our interaction or something like internal linking. Just now I showed you, right, website, how you are going from home to contact, home to about, and this remains every time same. So this is particularly known as a domain name, and domain name has two things. One is TLD and secondary level domain, and you have something like a TLD, something like wait, top level domain and second level domain. So second level domain is nothing but immediately after HTTPS, whatever the thing you're seeing, Open AI is my second level domain. This is something like a business address, something like Amazon, Flipkart, OpenAI, Gigs for Geeks, anything you want to give for your name for your application. You are developing some application. If you name that application, you need to give that you need to give a name for it. Actually, that is on a secondary domain. After dot, you are seeing something like .com, .co.in, .ai, .io, .com, .org, .net. Then these are called as TLD. TLD is nothing but a top level domain. Top level domain. And you would be knowing this in further classes. No worries for now, but you need to understand the terminology. So domain name is nothing but associated with your application. Associated with the application, and it is an identity for your application. Okay, you are trying to develop a application. For that application, you need to give identification. That identification is given by the domain name. And you are seeing something like HTTP. HTTP is something that this is like a transfer protocol. You don't worry about this HTTP, HTTPS, all those things that you will be understanding when you go when you see that when you see what is HTTP, HTTPS in over the internet. Also, you can understand. But HTTP is something that it actually establishes the communication. I'm saying something. I had showed you something like you are trying to put something here, and this first guy will be accessing internet. Second guy will be accessing internet. Third guy would be accessing internet, and how this all would be taking between taking how all this can be handled is something like so the communication between internet and the person one, internet and person two, internet and person three, are something that the content hosted by this user to the internet. So these all the communication is established by using some protocols. One such protocol is known as HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol is something that it defines how the data is being transmitted from yourself to internet. Okay, simple. How the data is being transferred from here to internet, or from internet to this guy, for internet to this guy, for internet from internet to this guy. That is would be handled by HTTP protocol. Just remember that words, but this is not explicitly required for you to understand. But domain name should be required for you as a front-end developer. You need to have knowledge about domain name, what actually domain name is doing. Okay, so I believe now you got some glance about web page, how internet is working and how website is working, and when we call a website or web page as a web application, then what is actually domain name. Then hosting is something that, so just think of a case like you are going to construct one house for yourself. So what you will be doing? First, you will be purchasing some land. Then on that land, you are going to build your house, right? The same thing when you try to build an application. First, for a physical entity is going to be moved to online. Then you need to purchase some place. You need to purchase some place on that place you need to make you need to place all the folders. So how you will be placing all your amenities, all your placing, you will be placing your appliances, all the at defined way on your something in your kitchen. You will be placing some utensils on something, right? Likely you will be constructing a house. Same likely when you try to build an application which is present in physical world into online, into over the internet, you need to purchase some space on internet. You need to purchase, think of like this is an internet, and you need to purchase some space. And on this space, in this space, you are going to put your application. So if you put your application here, and this application should have a domain name. You got something like www.strideit.com. So this space has, this storage space has domain name, the strideit.com. In this strideit.com, you put some all the resources which you will be shown to, you want show to user. Okay, then some user came here, and if he access the storage location, then he would get the things which you need to show for him actually. So that is the concept. Hosting is nothing but place. Hosting is nothing but place to store your files actually. Okay, and this hosting is nothing but a server. Okay, then this is something like a called as a server. Okay. Okay, anyone have any doubts? Okay, next thing, after understanding web page, website, web application, http, domain name, and hosting, you need to understand two terms. One is client side and server side. Okay, what is meant by client side and what is meant by server side? Okay, now I'll give you quick glance about it. Think of like a case. You are something like ordering a food, or something, you are going to book a ticket. Okay, I'm going to book a ticket from Hyderabad to Bangalore today. I just clicked here, and you are going to see something like interface. Okay, interface. So everything what you are doing here, you are seeing everything on where you are seeing. You are able to see this on your browser, where you are seeing actually on the Chrome browser. You are able to see, or else you need something like a software, like a browser. You need a browser to visit this URL, to visit this URL, and thereby you need to do your work which you intended. Okay, which you intended, you need to do that work. So for this one, whatever you're just hitting this URL, and you're just viewing the content. Where it gone? Okay, wait. You're just viewing the content, everything. It is everything that happens in the user's browser. So it might be something like you where is this one? Weebus. Okay, you're going to see the content, you're going to do some actions here, and you're going to click on select seats, and you're going to show, you will be shown some seats, and you'll be going to hit on this one, and you want to just select the things, and you are doing some actions, right? So the things which you are performed on your browser, those things are known as a client side. Okay, client side actions. Client side actions. So the actions which you are going to do on your browser, it might be anything. It might be a click action, it might be fetch action, it might be searching, it might be anything. Anything you do, whatever the thing you are doing on your browser is known as a client side. But remember, when I try to show you something like Control Shift I, when I try to show your network app, here what actually you are doing means, when I try to I'll go to here, I'll go to abibus.com starting page. You would be seeing all those things. Don't worry what all this one, don't worry. I just click on leaving from Chennai to Bangalore. Okay, okay, it is giving lots of results, you might get confused. I'll take a small example. Okay, let me take. Okay, Control Shift I. Okay, what is the thing which mm, it is also taking much things. Okay, let me take this one for me. Okay, don't worry about these all things, but I'll let you know about these things when you study about React. When I click on React tutorial, you are seeing something like, oh my god, these also have many calls. Why these all calls are getting here? Fetch etc. Any small website, I'm not able to remember. Okay. So this is my previous company which I used to work, and this is the thing which I worked. Then this is something like a web application. It can be installable as an application on desktop, and it can be installed. It can be viewed over internet also. And this is for internal purpose. I don't think so now I'll get an access, but you are seeing some interface, right? This is the interface where I have built. I have built that includes. But I want to show you this thing, right? What I'm trying to show you out. I forgot. Client side. Okay, client side. Okay. Now, if you click here, go to about. Okay, it's not getting response. Okay. Anyhow, what I'm trying to say means I'll be giving some good example in document. Just go through the document. Right now, I'm not remembering the good example. But remember, whatever the thing which you are doing on browser, that would be termed as a client side, and something server side is something that you are doing some logic handling. Some logic handling means, for example, if you try to hit on wait, I'll show you this one. This can be shown here. If you try to hit on Amazon, then you are seeing something this one, right? When you try to hit, and if you go here and if you try to click on sign in. Now what happens here? When you try to input your mobile number or email, then what after inputting your mobile number and email, just what it happens? So I'll try to input my one. Okay, just I just it asks for the password. Now immediately I'm just trying to hit some dummy password. I just click on sign in. It shows me an error. There was a problem. Your password is incorrect. So what it actually does means, here this is a server action. This is not a client action. This is server action, because as a client, what you did, you have captured from browser. You have captured the value which is present inside the password field, and you sent you what you did means, you sent it for server. In server, what it does means, it checks for my user id and my password. If in there, what happens means, if my user id and password is correct, then this would be navigating me to my home page, or else it would show the problem. There was a problem, your password is incorrect. So these all the things are happening on your do these all the things are happening on your browser? No, absolutely not. Though these things are happening on the server side. So the logic which you write for authentication, so this is sort of like a authentication. You want to authenticate the user. You want to verify the user before providing access for dashboard. For Amazon.in, to show the dashboard of Amazon.in, this user must be signed in, and you are validating and you are verifying that user. How you are doing? These all those things are doing on server side. So that is that type of interface is known as server side. So that type of thing is known as server side. Just remember, on client side, whatever the things are happening on the browser, those all things are comes under client side. And what other things are happening, something like verifying the user, or verifying the handling authentication, handling databases, handling business logics. All those things would be happening on server side. And something like, these are backend tasks. On server side, whatever the things are you are doing, those comes under backend tasks. Okay. On server side, whatever the things you are doing, those all comes under backend tasks. And on client side, whatever the things are you are doing, those all comes under front end tasks. And as a front end developer, your work is to work on client side. So majorly your work would be something like the users playing on the browser. The users would be playing on the browser. So playing, it seems that he might. Now you had seen something, right? Now what I did, I have inputted my dummy password, some password. It actually thrown me an error.
So these type of things, now you are as a front end developer, what's your role, what's your work is something that you need to allow user to enter this password, and your work is to capture this password once after user is entering this password, and that password you need to send to the server. There the server would verify this user id and this password. And what is your work? Actually your work is to capture this one and capture this password and send it to the server. So and your work is to design this interface, provide the interface for your user. So these are all the things which you are seeing on the client side. On browser, the works which you would be doing on the browser, those all those things are called client side interactions, client side actions, client side interactions. The developer who is responsible for all client side actions or client side things is known as a front end developer. So your work is to work on client side. Now I believe most of you got an idea about client side and server side. Okay, now you need to understand the browser. I already showed you something called yesterday role of the browser. Browser is something that which enables an user to access or display web pages, any graphical content, any online content. If you want to see any online content, anything, any graphical content, or you want to display web pages, so where you will be all doing that one, that thing all you are doing on browsers. So browsers are something that which are required for client side display. So to display client, to display something, to perform client side operations or client side actions or client side in client side rendering or all those things you would be doing on the browser. And browser is something like a software application that enables you to do client side actions. Okay, so what other things can browser do? It can display a web page, it can handle some clicks. You could able to see here, right? I can able to click here. Where is this one? I could have click. See, this is something like when I click on any LinkedIn button, it is going to LinkedIn. Okay, it's going to LinkedIn. So what actually it's doing? It's a button. It's a clickable action. So your user can click. User can update the content and load files and browser. And you need to understand one more thing. One more important thing. When you try to do something, when you try, for example, I'll show again this Amazon. If you try to see amazon.in, you are loading some resources. See, you are loading lots of resources. I'll click on all. I'll click on this one all. It's showing one. Okay, all. I'm clicking all. You could able to see this one. See JPEG. You're seeing something like document, script, JPEG, fetch, font. So what all this one? So these are all the resources which is utilized by this Amazon website. But who is loading this website? Loading these resources. The browser is responsible for loading these resources. So that is the why browser is a powerful tool for client side. For a front end developer, browser is something like a good tool and something like a powerful tool for a front end developer. Okay, you need to play with browser. You need to understand each and everything which is present on a browser. So what is this elements, what is this console, what is this sources, what is this network, and in sources you are doing, you are seeing something service worker, what is the service worker, and you need to see the performance. So this I'll be explaining you in a while, no worries. This memory application, so these are all the things you need to make understand. You need to understand what actually browser is doing, because when you understand the concepts very clearly, you can play with it actually. So that's what. Okay, so this is the terminology which is required for you to understand. Okay, now actually in this so far we have learned about terminology required for application development. Then the next class you would be learning about, okay, I want to complete this. Okay, let me complete this one. Let me complete this one, and we shall go to HTML from next working with HTML from next class. So as everyone knows about this one, you everyone I mean, I don't know about freshers. Maybe if you are very fresh for application development, I don't think so. You know about this one, but if you have some knowledge about technically, then you might know about all this one. What the thing which I am showing actually. So HTML is so in this batch we will be learning about the presentation language HTML is nothing but what it can do. HTML is nothing but hypertext markup language. You would be learning about what is HTML in depth from tomorrow, but you understand HTML is something like a markup language that provides the structure for your content. So as I said here, you are going to represent this physical business on internet. So for that, you need to provide a structure. So how do you want to place your content? So what all things you need to consider while building this up physical entity on internet. So what all things you need to take care. So that structure, complete layout of your application. So this, suppose take an example of Abibus. Here Abibus, you can see example of Abibus. So this is something a front end developer decides the view about this one. He have kept logo here. He have kept some navigation here. He have kept some search bar here. Background, he have kept some image which is good looking image, and he is showing some offers here, a carousel here. This is known as a carousel. It's a slider. It's a this is something like carousel. Okay, it can slide actually. Okay, and you are saying something. All this is sort of like a layout. Okay, this preparing this layout is possible with only HTML. So you are making this HTML, you are preparing this element, so that is sorry, this layout. So the logo should be placed here, navigation should be placed here, this button should be placed here, this background image should be placed here, this card should be placed here. And who decides this one? HTML decides this one, where you need to place. And HTML also allows you to add the content. You can add text, you can add images, you can buttons, you can add images, links. And how you are adding HTML through tags. I will let you know what is this tags actually, and also I will let you know what is a hierarchy. Hierarchy is nothing but you see something like you are first seeing the logo, then navigation bar, then after a background image, then on that background image you are able to see the search bar. So how does browser know that these are arranged in this manner? Browser work is to just convert the code, and that converted code is just displaying on the browser. But how do the browser know I need to place Abibus here, I need to place navigation here, I need to place background image here, and I need to place something here? So it's all something like a hierarchy model. Hierarchy model. HTML follows in a hierarchy model. It organizes elements. So this is something like a image element. This is something like a text element. This is something like a button element. This is like this backside is something like a background image element. So these all the elements would be arranged in a hierarchy manner. The hierarchy manner that is actually controlled and maintained by HTML. So I had shown this a small image. See, you are seeing something like a small car, right? So why I bring this image means, see, you could able to see something like, so the wheel should be placed here, the bonnet should be placed here, and the back wheel should be placed here, and front covering should be placed here, and light should need to be placed here. And this is something like a structure, just a structure. But does this look good? No, it just gives information about where the steering should be, where the car tires would be, where the side glasses should be placed, and only it gives information about the structure. Now after working with HTML to make you have prepared your structure and you added your content. So what all the content you need to place in the for this layout? Okay, you prepare a layout with a structure and content. Now to make this content in a something like to feel good look, then you need to style that content. So you are not supposed to deliver this car as it is for a user, right? You need to make some look wise everything good. So that thing would be possible with the help of cascading style sheet, that is known as CSS. Now so you could able to place a search button. So when you see this one, this is sort of like a button. Okay, I'll show you one thing. You can see here. I'll write one button. Okay, button code. Button code. This would be something like submit. Okay, search here, or else search here. Okay, search here. Okay. Now when I try to open this one, you are seeing something search here button. Now compare this button with this one. See here how beautiful this button looks. But this button is very native button. So this is something like HTML button, but it was modified like this with the help of CSS. Okay, that you need to understand. CSS would make your content feel good. It controls the colors, it controls the fonts, and it even controls the layout, position, and size of the elements also. So how it controls, I will explain you later. But this is a structure. This structure can be made feel good with the help of CSS. And after that one, JavaScript is nothing but these all the things. You prepared some structure, you styled it, but to make it functionality, you need to make utilize of some programming language. That programming language is what JavaScript is the programming language which you will be utilizing to make your content from static to dynamic. So this is sort of like a static content, but to make it dynamic, you need to make use of a language called programming language called JavaScript that will help you to convert the static content into dynamic content. Okay, so this is all the terminology which is required for you to understand application development and front end application. So from next class, we will be diving deep into actually what is HTML and what all the things which are possible with HTML, and HTML, why we need to use HTML, and what sort of content you would be building with HTML, and what is this DOM, and what is this tree, and what is this how so you wrote something code, and how this code is being converted into this particular page. So those all those things I will make you understand. I'll make you understand one by one. So this is all for this class, this session. Maybe tomorrow we shall be continuing with some more concepts, and I'll try to make you understand each and everything in a architecture level. Don't worry about this. I'll guarantee you that I'll try to make you understand each and every concept. That, and it's your thing to practice, and it's your thing to understand and ask me questions whenever you feel the difficulties. Okay, so that's all for this session. Tomorrow we shall be meeting with the new session. In that session, we will be actually writing the code with the help of HTML. Okay, and we'll be trying to prepare some good layouts or something like small things from tomorrow. Okay. Okay, guys, that's all for this session. Meet you in tomorrow session. If anyone have anything to ask, or if anyone have any questions, please stay back. We shall discuss, or else we shall leave the class. Huh? So, anyone have any doubts? You can ask me. And also, Sumananna posted one chat message, I believe. He have posted something like some WhatsApp group. Yeah, Anna posted some WhatsApp group to join that WhatsApp group to stay updated. It seems, huh? You just join there, and you'll be getting all the information about what's happening with what all things happening with Stride IT solutions and all those things like batches and all those things. Huh? Okay. Anyone have any doubts apart from this? So if you don't have any doubts, we shall take a leave. Or if you are having any doubts, just let me know. I'll try to make you understand. What are you able to understand my communication and things, or am I going very fastly? So guys, speak out. No worries. I'm not something like what you think. I'm just like you are. You only. Just you speak with me freely. No problem. I'll try to make you understand the things. If you have any doubts, you can freely ask me. And also something like don't try to grab something. Try to question yourself. What is that? What is this? That would be helpful for you in understanding not only concepts, in for future growth and for future. If you are aiming for some good things, some strong development, then you need to ask questions. Okay, you need to understand the things. Okay. If you don't have any doubts, we shall leave now. What do you say, guys? Shall we leave? Anyone are talking? Am I audible? Just please confirm me. Am I audible? No doubts. Okay. Good. Good. No issues. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Then to meet you in tomorrow session, maybe I'll just try to provide this till the document, till now the document. You just go through the document, document. If you have any, if you find any doubts or if you find any difficulties, you can text me directly or else you can text in the group. Okay. Okay. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Yeah, Harsha. Yeah, fine, fine.